In this video, I'm going to show you backstitch. So backstitch is an outline stitch, and I guess it's one of the foundation stitches. So it's a really good technique to have in your stitching tool belt. So it is simple, but I guess the key with this stitch is to keep each stitch an even size and a consistent size.
To begin your back stitch, you want to start from the back, of course, and make sure you knot your thread. So you don't want to start right on the end of your line. Rather, you want to start one stitch in, and you'll see why in a sec. And this is why back stitch gets its name, because we're actually stitching back. So rather than stitching from left to right, we're stitching from right to left. So I'm going to go back one stitch. So to begin my next stitch, I'm not starting here, I'm beginning forward one stitch, and then I'm stitching back. Now with this first stitch, you want to be really careful that you don't pierce the knot. So just try and pull the knot to the side. Okay, so we'll do our next stitch. So again, we're starting one stitch forward and stitching back. So a good way to think of back stitch is that you're going one stitch back, two stitches forward. So what I mean by that, so if I come up here, I'm going one stitch back. Now I'm jumping forward one, two stitches. So back stitch is really good for curves, it's really good for straight line. It is an outlining stitch, you know, so you can use it to define an area. So my stitches are quite long. I think they're about probably 3 or 4 millimeters. You can make them tiny. You probably wouldn't want to make them too much bigger. But you can see this is kind of one of the foundation stitches. So it is really good. This is a really good one to, you know, wrap your head around and get used to stitching. Because it is simple and you can use it for many different things. So like I said, you could use it for lines. It's also really good for lettering. So if you're stitching words or letters, because it takes to curves so well, it's really good for lettering. Okay, and you'll see as I'm working that I actually turn my hoop and move my hoop rather than trying to kind of move my hands to suit the hoop. Alright, so we're just going to do one more stitch. It's really important to try and keep your stitches an even length, just for a consistent look. So I'm actually going just a little bit beyond my line. Some lines you'll be able to do that, some lines you won't. So that's back stitch.